of these landscapes. They're big and beautiful and they speak for themselves. But this one has its own voice. A voice captured by the band Idlewild, who wrote the songs for their number 3 album, the remote part, only a couple miles south of here in Inchnadamph. There's not much going on in the village itself, it's just a couple of houses, car park, a youth hostel that sells continental breakfast. And really that's about it. But still, you can see why this landscape inspired one of the greatest albums of all time.
It's quite stunning, isn't it? It has a pride of place in the landscape with a very Scottish feel. It's called Ardvreck Castle and it was built circa 1590 by the Clan MacLeod, who once owned all the lands in Assynt. It's a 3-storey rectangular keep. It was once a lot larger and more imposing than the one you see today. It had a walled garden and a courtyard to it as well, but it still looks pretty impressive. Now there's a couple of interesting stories about it. In 1650, the Marquis of Montrose was captured here because he was on the wrong side of the English Civil War, although it did have an impact in Scotland as well. He was caught here and then taken to Edinburgh and hanged, drawn and quartered, which is one of the worst punishments created in history. Really gruesome. The only other major tale from Ardvreck's past was when it was finally destroyed in 1672 by the Clan Mackenzie, who took all the lands away from the Clan MacLeod and controlled Assynt thereafter. Now the interesting thing is that Ardvreck Castle is on a sort of peninsula that actually gets cut off at high tide and becomes an island. Now what you'll notice here is this chain in the rock. Now whenever the Clan MacLeod's enemies were captured and put to trial and sentenced to death, the worst ones were sentenced to this horrible punishment, being chained to this rock while the tide moves up and swallows them whole.
So this is the bunkhouse that we're staying in Lochinver, and it's well furnished, nice leather seats, well decorated table.
Very comfortable.
Very comfortable indeed. But there's something else included in the service which I think you'll probably not find in most other bunkhouses. This is very special. Yes, as you can see, the bathrooms have a very special service offered to you.
So it said at the beginning of the path we needed to walk about 2¼ miles to reach the Falls of Kirkaig, and that says it's done about 2¼ miles, and there they are. And they might not look like much, but these falls are so impressive.
Just be quiet. You made us walk how long now? A mile, maybe more, up this winding gorge, exhausting. We've just been up Stac Pollaidh, can't catch a breath. You forced us to come to this.
Like I say, you look at it and you think there's not much there. It's impressive, it's big. You don't feel it as big, but trust me, it's big. And there's so much water flowing down there, you can hardly tell that it's just a tiny wee stream that we're pretending to film. You can't tell that at all from there, can you?
There's not even enough water to drown your face in it. That's the saddest thing of all.
I think you've been a bit harsh. I mean, these falls are part of our Scottish history. They're part of our culture. These falls are the reason that we're here, the reason we exist. The reason we do what we do is because of that stream there and its impressive power, which is impressive.
I pished more than that.
You're just not getting it. I mean, this is the definition of life right here.
Tonight on Action Mongers, Simon challenges the infamous steps of Kirkaig.
It is the ascent of Assynt.
Oh come on, this is supposed to be a serious programme full of intense action, not lame puns.
I don't care. I don't care.
Since when was it that we switched places to you being the one with the lame puns and the jokes and me being the exasperated one?
Time to change everything.
Yeah. Now this is the real Falls of Kirkaig. This is what we came here to see. This is what we hiked all that way for. None of that nonsense from before.
It's just not really that good, is it? I mean, beforehand you had the trickle, you had the rocks that were just casually drifting over, but it's just showy and it's just showing off to us. There's no need for it.
You're talking pure shite. I mean, look at this. Look how fast it is. Look how powerful. And if you stare at it, you can do that cool rock shifting trick thing that we did in Norway. You can't do that with that pish stream that you had.
That stream was more than just a pish stream. When you talk about pick, look at the gallons of pick pouring down from that thing. This is terrible. I do not want to be here. I'm going. No more. Goodbye.
So behind us is Suilven, which is probably Assynt's most iconic mountain. 731 metres, so it doesn't actually qualify as a Munro, which means a lot of people miss it out, which is a stupid thing to do really, because it is such a stunning looking thing. It's 2 kilometres long, formed by glaciers scraping along the side of it. Interesting fact, the main summit there, the big policeman's helmet-shaped dome, is called Castile Leath, which means Grey Castle. Now, some of you know my surname is Grey. So, Grey Castle, what could we be doing in Assynt? Well, I'll tell you, I am the Lord of the Grey Castle, and I'm going to my ancestral home.
No, you're not.
Don't ruin it! Well, there's a nice little beach type thing, Pebble Beach here in front of Suilven, and a nice wee loch. This should be a good place right enough. Unfortunately, there aren't very many championship stones to be found on here, but you make do, so let's give this a go.
Oh yes, you got skin there.
That's actually adequate. Decent. I'm supposed to be sucking in this clip, but my pride won't let me. Yeah, that sucked. That sucked as well. I don't even know where that went.
Oh, I just got skin.
So kind of sucks, doesn't it? Water is low firmitude. It just doesn't carry the stones.
Firmitude.
Yes, firmitude.
Firmitude.
Are you zooming in on my teeth again?
Yes, firmitude. This game's been going on about 5 minutes and still nobody's potted a single ball yet. Is Andrew going to be the first one to do it? Let's find out. The answer is no. Can Andrew do it? Can Andrew win the longest game of pool in history? And it continues on. Well, at least something's done in the pocket. It's a bold move. If it plays off, he's won the game.
I think I finished on quite a good shot. Good game, real skill, real skill. Yes. 2 excellent players.
With the height of their careers.
So Simon, what would you do if you're driving along this lovely road in Assynt and then right round this corner you end up on Schlocht Summit?
I mean, come on, the weather might be a bit miserable at the moment, but nothing's miserable than being back on the A9 where we spend all this time driving up north to enjoy the spectacular scenery.
Well, it hasn't happened yet.
It's not gonna happen.
I swear to you though, all roads lead to Schlocht. Well, here at the little Garb Bridge, there's a blanket ban on barking. No barking at all. So if you bring your dog here, it has to shut the hell up, do what you say, and turn only.
No barking. Must be some pretty rough dogs around here.
Simon, that's shocking. Get back here. That is worse than anything I would ever come up with. I think you need to be taking a task on this. Get back. Take your punishment. Come on. Hold still. Get back here, you fuck. What?
Peaks of Assynt, all carved glacially from Torridonian sandstone to create these dramatic peaks. But you come away from there slightly to Inchnadamph and you find yourself in a slightly different kind of terrain. This is limestone country. Now limestone is affected heavily by rainwater. Rainwater itself is slightly acidic, so it tends to burn scars and caves right through the landscape. And that's what we're off to see today, the Bone Caves of Inchnadamph. So what we're looking at here is a natural spring. You come right down to this point here, the water you can see is bubbling right out of the ground. This is kind of classic limestone scenery right here. So what's happening is the water is kind of bubbling through the cracks in the limestone itself. It enters the cracks, makes them bigger, and that's how you end up forming caves through the natural dissolving of the limestone. And in this case it's given us this amazing natural spring. Just look at the water that's coming out from this point, and yet there's absolutely no reason for all this water to be here. It's coming straight out of the ground, and you end up with it flowing off into the distance, but there's no real start point to it. At least at a casual glance you just see this. I think this is pretty amazing, and I'm sure you'll agree.
As usual, there's an ulterior motive. Simon says, oh, we'll go to the Bone Caves. Oh, this will be cool. But what he really wanted to come and see was this. A crappy triangular road style sign engraved in stone to warn us of impending boulderage. Isn't that right, Simon?
Fuck you, man. I like my signs. I wasn't expecting to see this at all. This is a welcome treat.
It's not. I'm gonna put an end to this. Try taking a photograph now.
I've already taken one. It's too late.
Well, you didn't get as many as you wanted, I can tell that.
I got 3 and they're all identical, so, you know.
Identically pish.
I managed to win here. Just because you don't appreciate the great things in life, like triangular warning signs, doesn't mean there's anything actually wrong with them.
No, I agree with you. I don't appreciate the good things in life. Just the pishy things like all these wonderful springs, caves, geological formations. You know, the pish.
Bone Caves. These are slightly southeast of Inchnadamph, and they were part of Scotland's longest cave system. You can only really go into the entrances here. These were formed by water erosion going through the limestone. But the most interesting thing about these caves are the amount of species of animal bones that have been discovered within. There aren't really any now, they've mostly been taken away or they're too deep to go and retrieve, but it includes things like Eurasian lynx, brown bear, reindeer, polar bear, Arctic fox, and even human remains from the 3rd millennium BC. A polar bear was found in 2008, about 11,000 years old. And you're thinking, what are polar bears doing in Scotland? Well, it would have been back to the Ice Age when glaciers covered continental Europe, Britain, and the Arctic, so things could travel across. Now, you might wonder why so many things came to die in these caves. Well, the answer is they probably didn't die in the caves. They died elsewhere and were carried through here by water.
Now I think it'd be cruel to take you all the way up here and not show you the inside of these caves. So let's take a look. Now, what we're going to see here, and what nearly every tourist will see, is just the front of these caves. They go really far into the rocks themselves. And I'll show you around the corner here, one of these passages. And again, there's a bit of a natural spring in the ground at this point. If you come right down, if you were small enough and stupid enough, you could crawl through there and who knows where you're going to end up. And obviously it's very deep into these bits where they found the remains of all the animals. The Inchnadamph Bone Caves. When you think of the term bone cave, you can have a bit of a laugh to yourself because of the obvious connotations. But when you get here, there's so much more to it. It's about history, but not just our history. It's about global history and the way these caves link us with times that we'll never know.
And Simon is now up on the Orkney.
The European legal limit was 400
That was a winning throw right there. How do you feel?
Oh yes, like a champion. Of course, my plan.
And how do you feel?
Romped. Imagine if they pulled down old crumbling mountains like they do old crumbling buildings and then replaced them with modern style architecture mountains.
What I mean are those horrible concrete block buildings that you get like red bits and yellow bits sticking out of it that look visually appealing.
Yep. Some nice examples of modernity and progress.
Imagine you go up to see the mountains, you end up somewhere like Assynt, and instead of getting all that beauty ahead of you, you just get a larger version of the Dundee's V&A museum.
That monstrosity. That is coming along quite horrifically at the moment.
I suppose they're getting rid of the dodgy 80s station, so that's going to be worth something.
And it wasn't as if Olympia was particularly nice either.
It just seems to be that Dundee waterfront is going to go through phases, and when this current fad comes to an end, there's going to be whatever new type of modern building where they get thrown onto the waterfront doing another revamp.
Yep, the waterfront job is never done in Dundee. 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 Well, we stopped here at some traffic lights here, and that's the House of Brewer over there. We've not had lunch yet, have we?
Nah, not yet.
Well, we could go there, but I'm worried it's probably a bit dear.
Well, it would be if you ordered the venison. Yeah.
Stac Pollaidh, the pinnacle of the mountain, 612 metres high, or 2,008 feet for all the old codgers. It looks like a teeth looking to chew up any stupid fool who dares even try to climb it. Simon, just thinking once we get around this corner, wouldn't it be amusing if somehow we ended up on Schlockett Summit?
That wouldn't be amusing, that would be annoying. We spent ages getting up here. We've had to hike up this mountain. And so far, it's been great. And I don't want to turn the corner and end up on boring old A9. I'm going to prove to you that's not going to happen.
Nothing wrong with Schlockett.
Not the A9.
Okay, I'll admit, that's pretty cool. But eventually, and you know this, all roads lead to Schlockett.
Last time we were on holiday, we went to Norway. And it just so happens that I have some of these amazing chocolate bars left. So I thought it only fitting we climbed to a good height in Scotland and re-taste glory.
Connections. There's so many of them in our lives now. Mobile phones, internet, Wi-Fi signal, and yet we've never been more disengaged or disconnected. Yet, if you come to somewhere like Assynt, with its vast open spaces, its solitude, its cut-off nature, you'll actually find a much deeper connection, a meaningful connection to nature, a connection to ancient history, a connection to deep geological time. In life now, we're so stressed and we're running around trying to get things done and feeling like our lives are maybe not moving as fast or in the direction we want to. But you can relax. If Assynt has taught us anything, things need to happen in their own time. It took 500 million years for this place to reach perfection.
we come up to this corner and we turn around it, think we'll be on Schlock Summit yet?
No, it's not going to happen. Life doesn't work that way. We're just going to be in Assynt having a good time. Nothing's going to ruin it.
I don't know. I've got a good feeling about this one. Oh, look at this. Look where we are. Didn't I say, Simon? Didn't I say that one of these days all the roads are going to lead to Slough Summit?
Can't believe this nonsense. How the hell did we end up here?
I don't know. But the most important thing is, I was right. You were wrong. I win. You lose. And I'm just going to savour this victorious moment on Slough Summit. Wait a minute, we're on Slough Summit. What's victorious about that? We're all the way from Assynt. We're never going to be able to get back in time.
No, we've lost it. We've lost the holiday all because of your stupidity. Now I ended up stuck here in this misery, having to drive all the way back up again. It's all your fault.
I didn't teleport us here.
Yes, you did. You're the one that kept going
I was
on
just
about it.
reporting the facts.
Well, cheers everybody.
Cheers.